Hey, it's 1 a.m. in Massachusetts and I'm about to go to bed, but I thought I would record a quick video because I'm trying to do them every day, even if they're just me talking and not any editing. I'm at my parents' house in western Massachusetts and it's beautiful here. I haven't had much time to spend outside, but I am going to get to go on a nice long hike up a mountain on Sunday, which I'm really excited about. It's part of my high school reunion. And speaking of which, I just came back from, actually, my makeup is smudging now. I just came back from the first part of the reunion where we met up at a bar, and they even had gluten-free vegan beer there. Red Bridge, which is by Anheuser-Busch, is actually quite good. It might not be made out of organic ingredients or anything, but it is a really good gluten-free choice. I did have a little bit of a frustrating experience today, though, as far as food was concerned. I had a very light lunch of just some blue corn chips with Daya cheese, and then I didn't really think too far ahead, and before I knew it, it was 6:30, and I hadn't really eaten very much. Neither had my sister, and we were really hungry. And we were with my dad in a part of town that doesn't have a lot of options. And we went to this grocery store, which actually had a surprising amount of natural foods. It's called Hannaford's. Not the nicest grocery store, but I was pretty shocked nonetheless by what they had there. And we didn't end up buying anything there for some reason because we needed to go somewhere else. And long story short, my family ended up getting Chinese food from this kind of shady Chinese place, and the menu didn't say anything about not having MSG, and I just didn't feel like asking. I just was like, you know what, I don't feel like this place is going to have food that I'm going to want to eat. So I decided not to get it, and I just felt really frustrated, mainly because it's hard sometimes when your family members just don't get it. Like, they'll still eat food with MSG in it. And, the debate is out on MSG. I've read reports on both sides. But, I don't know. It still seems like one of those things you shouldn't have in your diet. And so it's just interesting when people would rather have something convenient and tasty than something that might not be very good for them. Yeah, I don't know, I felt really frustrated, so I ended up making a gluten-free Daya grilled cheese sandwich while they ate their Chinese food. That was a little bit of pork in it and a little bit of seafood. They like to call themselves vegetarian, but they still eat fish regularly, so technically they're pescatarian. And then every once in a while they'll make exceptions for hot and sour soup, which has pork in it. I don't know. It's fine. They've come a long way, and I don't mean to knock down anything that they're doing. It's just it's frustrating, and I know that you can probably understand. I get a lot of questions about how to deal with that. It's tough. Sometimes I give in, and sometimes maybe I will have some Chinese food with MSG in it and just not worry about it. But, I think part of the reason I decided not to have it tonight was because it had sugar in it and oil and who knows what other ingredients. And a lot of times it's hard to ask about those ingredients at a restaurant where it's employed by people that don't speak English very well. So a lot of times I'll just end up skipping it, and I'd rather have a really simple dinner than risk it and not really know what I'm putting into my body. At least when I can make it at home, I can control it, even though I don't typically eat Daya cheese very often because of the oil content and the processing. It's nice to have as a treat, so I got to have this great grilled cheese sandwich, and I put little slices of tomato in it. So what I would recommend for you if you're traveling, if you're visiting family or friends that aren't into your way of eating, is make sure that you make a trip to the grocery store and stock up on just some basic foods that you can cook up really fast and easily, and explain to them that you're not trying to be rude, that you just have a specific diet and you're just going to eat your thing, and don't make a big deal out of it. I mean, my family's used to it by now. But I remember when I first went vegetarian, they were really caught off guard and surprised. It was over 8 years ago. And over time, it's been slow. But now that I'm much more into the healthy way of eating, and I have a very specific way of eating, I think it's more frustrating for them because I don't really eat veggie burgers anymore. Every once in a while I eat Sunshine. Is that what that's called? Sunshine, Sunburger? Yeah, the ones made out of sunflower seeds and brown rice. I'll have those because those are gluten-free and soy-free. But, you can't just buy me a vegan burger anymore because I don't really eat the soy and the wheat in there. So people don't really know what to make for me. That's why I kind of have to bring my own. And the best thing that I can recommend for you is to just act really casual and cool about it. Don't make a big deal. Just say, yeah, fine, I'll bring my own and I'll make it myself. You don't have to go out of your way. Bringing prepared foods is always easier as well. And then just trying not to get too worked up about it. I mean, it's frustrating sometimes when you see people eating foods that you believe to be unhealthy, but you got to remember that we all make our own choices and we all are on a journey, and I don't think that my way is necessarily the right and only way to eat. Everything's always evolving and research changes all the time. I mean, who's to say that the way I'm eating is necessarily the healthiest way for me? I don't know. So I just have to stay open to it and realize that they're hoping that other people will be open as well and not judging each other. So hopefully they won't judge you and you won't judge them, and just have a harmonious meal where people might just end up eating different things and accepting each other for their differences. That's really my best recommendation. That's what I always try to practice. So, but it did also get me thinking. I don't want to ramble too much because it's already been over 6 minutes now. But if you're still listening, my last thing I should say is I realize that the reason I do sometimes choose not to eat foods from certain places is not only for health, but also to show how important it is to me. Because a lot of times when we give in too often and make exceptions too often to be accommodating to other people, we're kind of letting things slide and we're not standing up for ourselves and what we really believe in. And we're also supporting businesses that we don't really believe in. Last night I had dinner with somebody who only goes to vegan restaurants. I think that's great. I mean, I find that really challenging, especially with all the reviewing that I do. I mean, my goal as a journalist is to show vegan options everywhere, but I really think it's amazing when people support only vegan businesses, because the vegan businesses do need our support, and it's same goes with eco-friendly businesses. We need to continue supporting organic foods and non-GMO foods. I think it's important to continue to support gluten-free foods and sugar-free foods and oil-free foods. I mean, that's the other thing is, I feel like every time I turn over a label, there's sugar in it in the craziest places. If you saw my Facebook today, my dad bought a thing of peanuts. He loves peanuts, and I turn it over, and they're called lightly salted roasted peanuts, and there was sugar in it, there was corn syrup in it, there was salt, of course, there was different types of oil, there was various forms of corn, there was soy in there, and MSG. And I just felt like my poor dad, he thinks he's getting this healthy snack. So I pointed it out to him. I said, hey Dad, I don't mean to be a bummer, but did you know there's MSG and sugar in this? And he's like, oh, I didn't know, and I didn't mean to make him feel bad. But later on that night, he brought me another jar of peanuts that was just peanuts and salt, and was like, hey, check out this one. So he was recognizing that, and maybe next time he'll turn over the jar and look at it. So, you got to find that balance of when do you say something and when do you keep your mouth shut? When do you stand up for yourself or point something out that's important to you versus when you're kind and considerate? It really is going to depend on a case-by-case basis and who you're dealing with. But I feel like it's important to do a mixture, and it's important to adjust it yourself. It really comes down to the words you use and your tone of voice and even your body language. Because the last thing you want to do is to perpetuate this myth that vegans and environmentalists or health advocates are judgmental and self-righteous, because I don't think a lot of us are. I think a lot of us are just really passionate about our lifestyle and hoping to show the rest of the world how easy it can be and fun and beneficial to ourselves and everyone else on this planet. I know that's my goal. All right, it's been almost 10 minutes. If you're still watching, thanks as always. I'm going to shut off the computer for tonight. Keep your questions coming on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, ecovegangal.com, and I will talk to you guys later. Good night.